Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. The 2024 Mr. Olympia definitely did not disappoint, and not only as far as men's open bodybuilding, I think the show as a whole was incredible this year. But just to recap, Samson Dauda did win this year's show, becoming the 19th Mr. Olympia. And I know that Samson has not even been Mr. O for 24 hours yet, but I'm already very comfortable making this statement. It's possible that after one Olympia win, this could be the start of a reign for Samson for numerous reasons. When we had guys like Derek win the title, Hadi Chupin, people said these are shorter guys. They don't really look like Mr. O. You wouldn't see this guy out in public and be like, this is the best bodybuilder in the world. Versus people have been saying Andrew Jacked, Samson Dauda, these guys look like Mr. O. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys think my comments are a little bit too early, or am I right? Is Samson Dauda a guy that can actually hold on to the title for multiple years? But we have had 4 different Mr. Olympia champions in the past 4 years. Bodybuilding is very interesting and also very competitive right now. But the topic of this video is actually my 3 biggest surprises from this year's O. And the biggest surprise, of course, is Samson walking away with the win. Not surprising because he didn't deserve it. But this entire year, the conversation has been on Derek versus Hadi. The Olympia team even made a poster for this year's Olympia highlighting the rematch between Derek and Hadi, but Samson just ruined everyone's plans. I remember Samson did the France Pro and so many videos came out saying that Samson is making a mistake. He isn't even planning on placing top 3 at this year's O. But this guy kept his head down and he continued to work. And once we take a look at the scorecards, it looks like Samson and Hadi were tied at prejudging, and then Samson pulled ahead at the finals. Now, I don't want to start a big controversy over this scorecard, but this is a little bit odd. I would understand if Samson was first at prejudging and they tied at finals, but there is no way that Hadi Chupin got worse for the finals. Phil Heath, who was commentating the show, said at finals, this is the Hadi Chupin that we wanted to see at prejudging. But based off the scorecards, Samson and Hadi were tied at prejudging, and then Samson pulled ahead at the finals. And as I mentioned throughout this entire weekend, Samson being a darker guy, we're dealing with not the best live stream, very dark, also random lights, all type of sponsors in the background. Samson, Brandon, Akeem, Andrew, these are the guys that are going to get screwed over the most as far as just not being able to see certain parts of detail in the physique. But most of the guys at the show, again, they had Samson Dauda walking away with the win. And admittedly, I did not have Samson winning this year's O. I didn't have him winning after prejudging, and I did not have him winning after finals. But I'm not upset at all, guys. I'm a bodybuilding analyst. I'm happy with whatever happens in the sport. If Bruno Santos would have won this year's Olympia, I still would have been over the moon, I promise you. But once again, huge congratulations goes out to the Nigerian Lion, Samson Dauda. The Olympia title is headed back to the UK for the first time since the 90s. Now, my second biggest surprise from this year's Olympia was none other than Mike Sommerfeld taking second place next to Chris Bumstead. And not only that, watching this show, and especially at finals, Mike actually beating Chris Bumstead in some poses. Looking at the scorecards for Classic Physique, one of the judges, at least one of the judges, had Mike over Chris at prejudging. And that's just insane. At least 90-95% of the world, maybe 99%, believes that Chris Bumstead is basically unbeatable until he decided to retire at this year's show. But Mike showed us that Chris Bumstead, Big C Bum, was actually beatable. But Chris will never be beaten, of course, because he decided to retire from the sport. But Chris recently announced that he will be putting a little bit of his money into the Classic Physique division, which I think is incredible. And you know what, guys? I remember watching a video about 2 years ago, and someone was saying that Mike Sommerfeld could end up being the biggest threat to Chris Bumstead. Back then, I thought the guy was a little bit crazy, but I don't know, maybe he can see into the future or something. But all jokes aside, as you guys can see, I've been a fan of Mike's physique for a long time, and even 2 or 3 years ago, I felt like he could challenge Chris Bumstead eventually, but admittedly, I did not know that that day was going to be yesterday at the 2024 Mr. Olympia, but I could not be happier for this guy. And again, with Chris Bumstead retiring, Mike is the favorite to come in and win next year's Olympia and become the next Classic Physique Olympia champion. And outside of the people that actually won Olympia titles this weekend, without a doubt, Mike placing second to Chris Bumstead, to me, was the most exciting, the most impressive, and also the biggest highlight of the weekend, outside of the actual Olympia winners. Now, the last surprise we're going to talk about in this video is Martin Fitzwater, and not necessarily a surprise. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of Martin Fitzwater. I've even said back to that Texas Pro when he went up against Andrew Jacked, Martin could have potentially won that show and everyone thought I was crazy. This guy has a crazy physique, brings crazy conditioning, insane back. He's also a great poser, doesn't really get enough credit for that, and overall just an extremely hard worker. Now, I knew that Martin was good. I knew that he had great potential, but I did not think he was going to come into this year's Mr. Olympia and place fourth. And you have guys putting him next to Derek Lunsford making comparisons saying, maybe Martin should have placed ahead of Derek. But I can tell you guys that Martin is winning this most muscular without a doubt. And even though the Olympia just ended, next year's show is going to be beyond exciting. Everyone's predictions got turned upside down. There were numerous people that had Samson winning the show, but I'm not sure anyone had this guy Martin Fitzwater stepping up like this. It looks like Martin is beating Derek in this roulette spread, and keep in mind guys, Derek is in the conversation for realistically having one of the top 5 backs of all time. If Martin continues at this rate, he will also be in the conversation for having one of the best backs of all time. And also just lower body development as far as glutes and hamstrings is actually insane. He's already more developed in that area than guys like Hadi Chupin and Derek Lunsford. Derek has the crazy glutes, but he doesn't have those hamstrings like Martin Fitzwater. But let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on Martin. Did you guys expect him to come in and place fourth? Do you guys think he should have potentially placed higher than Derek Lunsford? But that is going to wrap up today's video, guys. I do want to give another huge congratulations to our 19th Mr. Olympia, Samson Dauda. And also, if you guys did not watch the show, the Mr. Olympia now gives out a ring along with the sandal. And Samson seemed to really like that ring, which he instantly gave to his wife. And also, credit to his wife, who's been under criticism the entire year. As always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video, and if you have not done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for all of the love, the support on the channel over this year's Olympia weekend. This was definitely one for the history books. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that is it. I'm out.